Currencies are always fluctuating on the foreign exchange markets. A weak currency can be great for exports while simultaneously be bad domestically. Take Venezuela as an example of a situation where the currency crisis isn't helping exports and its value is declining rapidly. The euro is dying, and many countries have discussed leaving the single currency or potentially leaving the Eurozone altogether. Who will be next? You came here for the truth. Let's talk about France today, and then so many other important issues, beginning right away with the issue of France. The presidential candidate, Le Pen, repeatedly has said the euro is bad for France, but she talks about what they are going to do as a result. Her plan, if she gets in, and she's quickly becoming the favorite, to introduce a new franc. This is bold. It's a bold step at a rate of, can you believe it, 1-to-1 on the euro. That, I believe, is bold. It shows that they want this to be representative of a strong currency, a strong nation. Of course, they would allow it to fluctuate, and she even admits what would happen as a result. I'll get into that in just a moment. What's happening here in France is, really a follow-up to what's going on with the Brexit. We've also seen other countries talk about that. What about Greece suggesting that they would leave? It was rumored that they start printing up the drachma again. Even there was rumors about Germany printing up the marks again. We don't know exactly what is 100% true. All that we know is that people don't want to be under a tyranny anymore. That's just the way it is. They have woken up. Le Pen said the new franc would likely fall against whatever currency Germany uses, making French car exports more competitive, but said it might rise against the currency in Italy, a country she said would also be better off without the euro. I completely agree with this. I've been, discussing this for literally years. Median household income in the 21st century. I want to switch gears here and get into the trend of this video. What I really want to talk about: real growth since 2000, nominal growth since 2000. Okay, let's look at the fake growth, the garbage growth, the stupid things that you see all over the mainstream media. We're growing, and it just happens to be a whole big crock, a whole bunch of lies. Look at the reality. We are in negative growth right now at this time. This is since the year 2000. So many people, the millennials generation, who know nothing about the growth of the past, are seeing this. They see a false sense of prosperity, not the true sense. Since 2000, something happened. All the markets, they used to be all out of sync. If a market crash was happening in Japan, you would pull your money out, you'd put it in the US, you'd put it in Europe, and you can sort of take a little bit of a sidetrack, and you can, become safe again. But that isn't the way things are. Since the year 2000, all markets have moved together in lockstep. The same goes for the economies. Everyone around the world is suffering, sure, to a different degree, but it's all happening, all at the exact same time. This is the decline. And people keep saying constantly, you're a fearmonger, you're an idiot, you're stupid. And I have just one response. Look outside your window. Look how many people, just on this channel alone, in the comments are talking about how they're in poverty, how they have to eat one time a day because they can't damn well afford to eat more. How is the real economy globally? I assure you it's terrible. You got tent cities, you've got poverty, you've got unemployment like we have never seen before in some cases. Look at what's happening in Europe, but yet still, there are people who are clearly too privileged, too, fed with a silver spoon all their lives, I guess, because they seem to be doing good. Well, if you're doing good, then good for you. But I'm here to talk about the people that are struggling or the people that will be struggling in the near future. We are in for one hell of a ride, and I'm here to continue to bring out the information which shows that. I'm not here to paint a pretty picture. If you want a pretty picture, there's lots of garbage on TV that you can watch that will show you that, I assure you. Let's move on here. Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers. All right, the CPI, one of the fake numbers that the government produces. And you can see that over time, it was slowly increasing. Since approximately 1970, however, we've seen that increase at a higher rate. If they were to actually show that the CPI was increasing at the rate it actually does, then it would be a much more dramatic spike. I mean, you would see this thing practically up in a straight line. It's just a matter of fact, when you go to the store, you buy your groceries, you pay your energy bills, you see the truth. Now, of course, if you're growing your own garden, you had some land, you had a few chickens, maybe you had solar panels, water catchment, you wouldn't know, or at least you wouldn't feel most of that. But that's not the majority of people. Student and car loans, guess what? Does it surprise anybody that this is rising yet again? Month after month after month. It gets boring to see a chart that doesn't have any change in it. There's no change. If you want to gamble on something, this is the one. This is what to gamble on. I bet that student loans will increase next month. Well, you don't have to go too far-fetched to believe that it will. This right here we're talking about, and I'll just highlight it for you at the very top. Urban Outfitters tumbles as the CEO warns retail bubble has burst. Now, if I forget to check up on this at a later date, you might want to, because I have a feeling the Urban Outfitters CEO is going to get fired for telling the truth. This created a bubble, and like housing, that bubble has now burst. We are seeing the results, doors shuttering and rents retreating. This trend will continue for the foreseeable future and may even accelerate. That is not my quote. That's not David Kuntiri. That's not from the Money GPS. This is from the Urban Outfitters CEO. Yes, it's only one CEO and it's only in one field, but it does show you what's happening. It sounds like it's something that I say all the time, for the foreseeable future, and it may even accelerate. But here it is. There's some stats in here if you're interested. Like I said, it's only one small part, but it's very important. Ron Paul has said something very, very smart, and this is related to the Arizona State Committee passing a bill to treat gold as money and remove the capital gains tax. It's huge news. Huge news. I'm so excited about this. We ought not to tax money, and that's a good idea. It makes no sense to tax money. Paper is not money. It's a substitute for money, and it's a fraud. Very good words right there, because he knows that when you give the central bankers the authority to print up currency, they're going to abuse it. I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact. It's been, something that's been played all around history, all throughout the world. No difference there. And then what I really like is how he said this: the responsibility is on the states to follow the Constitution. The states need to follow the Constitution. What a novelty. Of course, in general, they won't. Trends in the fertility rate, something that I cover very often, and a lot of people, which I find strange actually, in the alternative news, and forget about the mainstream media, they don't cover this. I don't know why, but it's so important. Look at the fertility rates at the lowest level they've been since they started measuring them in 1909. And this is for the US. The lowest level in over 100 years. This is not a good thing. You need that replacement rate. If there was no bubble and there was, everything was just sort of fine, You still need all of the youngsters to pay off for the those down in the future. As they work, they're paying into their dues, and then you get it back later on. The Ponzi schemes, Medicare, Medicaid, everything else. Who's going to pay for it all? Well, the fact is that at some point, they're going to have to, quote unquote, reform entitlements. This is, as I talked about in my first book, in a little bit of detail, that people are going to riot. If you cut back on what they think they're owed or what they paid into, as a matter of fact, they will riot. And then, just for fun, Stephen Hawking, everybody's favorite, he's suggesting the world, without a world government, technology will destroy us. Suggesting that it's going to be a world government which saves us. He says the truth, definitely, that, with the machines and artificial intelligence, eventually that could be posing a danger. He says, look, what we need is a world government. That's going to be the solution. You're not even allowed to say world government without then following that up with conspiracy theory. But if you are Stephen Hawking, you could apparently get away with that. He's not a conspiracy theorist. He's a physicist. And apparently it's okay for him to say this. I find that funny. Anyway, if you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, then I know you will find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. So head over to Amazon, where you'll see a look inside feature that's going to actually allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.